Well, US President Donald Trump claims talks with Iran are continuing at a rapid pace, despite Iranian state media reporting that Iran was suspending negotiations over Israel's war in Lebanon. Israel was reportedly planning more attacks on Beirut and other parts of Lebanon, but in the past few hours, the US president called both Israel and Hezbollah to de-escalate. Max Gordon has more now from Tel Aviv.
President Trump is trying to de-escalate Israel's military action in southern Lebanon this evening as Iranian peace negotiators say that they are threatening to cut off communications over this issue. President Trump posting on Truth Social at a very productive call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, and there will be no troops going to Beirut, and any troops that are on their way have already been turned back. Likewise, through highly placed representatives, had a very good call with Hezbollah, and they agreed that all shooting will stop, that Israel will not attack them, and they will not attack Israel. The Israeli military had warned people in a suburb of Beirut to evacuate ahead of a possible Israeli strike as fighting between Israel and Hezbollah escalates in southern Lebanon. Over the weekend, Israeli forces pushed farther into Lebanon than they had in 26 years, crossing the Litani River and seizing a historic Crusades-era castle atop a strategic ridgeline. Iranian state media reported today that Tehran's negotiating team was cutting off communication with the United States because of the ongoing fighting between Hezbollah and Israel in Lebanon. Iran has pushed for a ceasefire in Lebanon as a key part of their deal with the U.S. Iran's foreign minister writing on X, a ceasefire between Iran and the United States constitutes, without any ambiguity, a comprehensive ceasefire across all fronts, including Lebanon. The United States and Israel bear responsibility for the consequences of any breach of the truce. Iran continues to fire on American forces, though. CENTCOM reporting that last night, U.S. forces intercepted 2 Iranian ballistic missiles targeting troops in Kuwait. Americans also continue to blockade the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM saying that as of today, 121 commercial ships have been redirected and 5 have been disabled. Negotiations with Iran continue at what President Trump calls a rapid pace, but clearly these negotiations...
US President Donald Trump has reportedly sent a tougher peace proposal back to Iran, although specific details of that proposal remain unclear. But Iran's chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Khalibaf, says the US is not to be trusted. So where does that leave us this hour? Joining us live is the political analyst Joe Syracusa. Feels like this is a continuation of the same argument we've had for a few weeks now, Joe. Are we any closer to sorting this thing out?
Good morning, Pete. Well, no, we're not, as a matter of fact. The proposal is it's a very modest thing to get the Strait open again and to extend the ceasefire 60 days. Of course, the Iranians, they want money, they want sanctions lifted, they want the war in Lebanon to stop. I mean, they want all kinds of things that they can't have, and Trump's not going to give them. Of course, the Iranians, Pete, they can watch your show and other shows and find out that the war is not very popular in America, that Donald Trump's popularity rating is cratering in a number of places. And, maybe they're just holding out. But it doesn't look like much is going to happen here, though the president has been able to keep the price of oil down.
Well, so with all of that said, Joe, I mean, Iran knows it's got a lot of cards.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, the president ran up against the wall of reality. See, the thing is, Pete, is that someone forgot to tell Iran they lost the war. I mean, they did. They took a pounding, or took a real beating. They lost their leadership. They lost a lot of key structures. I think the Americans hit 14,000 targets. The Israelis about, 11,000 targets or something like that. And, there's always the prospect of more. But the president has other things on his mind. I mean, he's got that big fight in the backyard coming up, and he's got other things to do, as a matter of fact.
I did want to ask you about that. I mean, John O'Kersley gave us a bit of a preview. It's on in a couple of weeks' time. I'll actually be in the United States when that happens. I'll be on the other side. But still, I mean, you've been a political observer in the United States for a long time now, Joe. But what do you make of UFC, of when the White House becomes the fight house, as Jono said?
Well, it looks a little bit like ancient Rome with the gladiators on the front
Yeah.
lawn. I mean, that's what it is. Hey, look, it's quite a spectacle. I mean, that particular form of fighting didn't decide had to decide between martial arts and boxing, so they combined both of them. It's a hell of a thing. But look, the president likes to put a good show on, and a lot of people don't want to come to his shows. That is, a lot of the artists are not backing the president. So, it's a hell of a thing. I mean, it's very odd. We're at war, and the president's fussing about this venue for the fight, and he's fussing about the ballroom, and he's picking other kinds of fight. He's got to worry about his candidates getting up in Texas and places like that. He's got a lot of things on his plate, and of course, Pete, what he really wants to do is get around to getting rid of Cuba by the end of his term. I mean, he's got a little unfinished business in the new world.
But you know what, Joe? I mean, just going back to Texas for a moment, and this all follows Kentucky, it follows Louisiana as well. I mean, there's, as we're getting into the midterms, he's still got a lot of pulling power when it comes to the Republican Party. So whatever he's doing, it works.
Well, look, he's gotten rid of most of his enemies. And in fact, a lot of his enemies also in the media, people who've been hassling him for years, they're all doing all kinds of strange things. Yeah, he's got enormous clout. The thing is that he's lost his support among independents. He's got the Republican primaries locked up, and that's a pretty good thing. He's done a good job there. But he's lost his independence. He's lost the brown vote, the black vote, and the kids who didn't go to college. And he's lost a lot of those white kids, the white boys too. So he's got a lot of work to do. But he has a hold on the party. If I were running for a Republican position in the United States, I would be real nice to Donald J. Trump.
I would be too. Exactly.
Real nice.
Your future depends on it. Good to see you, Joe.